And somebody else would like to make a comment on how you take care of your emotional investment.
Otieno, OPP.
Yes, yes. Well,
If I may go deeper than emotions,
yes,
emotions are seated in the soul.
yes.
In the soul, and what psychologists would call the subconscious. And they result from external events, which are either ongoing or have taken place in the past. Now, these events cause the mind to give them a meaning, okay? And that meaning now translates into an emotion, and then into a belief, and then into an action. So I believe it is possible to reframe any situation, any person to whom you have given a meaning. And I want to apologize to Odhiambo Lale, because we have a culture of mindless activity, okay, which has been promoted by the media, by the cinema industry, and even the music industry, the entertainment industry. So we are engaged in mindless activity, and we absorb what other people are feeling around us, what they are saying, and we give meaning to all of these things, because we are not mindful. Like when Odhiambo Lale is walking around in his neighborhood, he is mindful. His mind is concentrated on his next step, on the cars which are parked inside those compounds, on the people who are wearing ties or who are not wearing. So at a time like this, we need to put things in their proper context. We have heard about people committing suicide because of a football match in this very country, because they have attached too much meaning to the English Premier League, ignoring a local league. For example, a local match between Kibra Boys and Madara United. So it's just about attaching a different sort of meaning. This is a small event. Your life will go on. Okay? CBC is not changing overnight, right? Just because we will have a new president. We are not going to have just one permit in Nairobi County overnight. It's a process. We are just a small part of the cog. We are a small part of that wheel. So I think I want to agree with Odhiambo Lale that we need to be mindful when carrying out our daily duties. We need to invest our emotions in the people who need them the most. That is our families and our communities. We need to show them that we are happy, as you said. We need to show them that we are calm. But as I said, we have been sucked in to this mass hysteria, which is on social media, which you cannot escape from, which is on the media. In fact, in this particular election, the media houses have really let us down. And with those few remarks on OPP, I rest my case.
Thank you. I love that you brought in the angle of we are ardent consumers of people's opinions, and we tend to pick those opinions to run our lives. And you know, whoever, and you better remember this, if you will forget anything, I said two most important things. One is you and your emotions. One is a slave. One is a master. Now remember that whoever can manage your emotions, that person rules you. That person rules your life. If I will be in a position to manage your emotions the way I wish, then I will be able to rule you. And that is something you want to be worried about. Don't just pick people's opinions as they are. You've talked about meaning. What meaning do we attach to it? It's good for us to know that your life doesn't change if you don't change. Your life only changes. And that should be our topic in the coming weeks about personal development. Your life only changes if you change. We need to be aware that no president, no authority somewhere is going to make a positive difference in my life. The journey for the Israelites, they were being led by God in the desert, but they were still grumbling and they died in the desert. So it is something you need to know. Oh, there is something I was talking about, which I think I lost that track. That one thing I discovered is, if you get a leader that you really did not wish to get, maybe as spiritual people, Melvin is brought to the spiritual angle. I don't like speaking spirituality. I don't consider myself a big authority in that. But as spiritual people, we need to put them into prayer. Maybe that habit that we don't like in them, we can pray for them that they may change it. Because as Christians, by the way, one of our biggest obligations is to pray for our leaders, if you didn't know. So there is that element of picking people's opinions and letting them rule our lives. So why can't we be in charge? I'd like to finish with this story, then we can close. And this is when I learned about emotional intelligence, if you want to know. I did not know about that terminology, but I learned, I started learning leadership when I was pretty young, I think under 10. And at this time, I was in class 7. And we were sailing, we were going for a funeral. My grandma had died. So I was with my younger brother. And he was pretty small. I was the only one who knew how to swim. Those days and where we were living, you could only travel using a boat to where we wanted to go. And I'd never crossed the lake using a boat. In that particular part of the world, by the way, people don't like vehicles. They only use boats. They believe boats are much safer than vehicles. And I understood them, because they say if you get an accident, you're involved in an accident while on a road, then you are likely to be injured if you are not dead. But if you get an accident, you're in a boat, there are only two possibilities. You are either dead completely or completely alive. So they better go for that. You see? So on our journey back, the tide was really big. If you've read the story in the Acts of Apostles about Paul crossing with this, as a prisoner, crossing with these soldiers to the other side, Mellitus, you will be able to understand what I went through. It was serious. And the police officers, I could see that there is going to be trouble. The police officers were just counting people, and my thought was, they are just counting people to report if something happens, that there were this number of people in the boat, but this boat was getting overloaded. And it was around 3 p.m. It was a serious thing. So I was here with my brother. He was seated next to me. In a boats like the ones we were using, there are no roofs. Yeah, you touch water on this side and you touch water on this side. There were very many of us. So at some point, I kept moving, and I was imagining, if something happens, how will I take care of this boy? That was my biggest worry. Personally, I know there was a possibility of surviving because I can swim, not necessarily to the shore, but maybe to the boat, because the boats don't sink. They always overturn and people are thrown away. So if you are lucky, you may be able to swim back and climb it so that you are seated on it. And if no sea animal grabs you, you'll always be safe and somebody else will come to your rescue. But this was the case. Well, unless there are enough people who come and climb in and they overpower it. But this was the case. I was imagining this boy, this little boy, his all hope is on me. And if he sees me panicking, he will panic. Now, this is what happened, that it reached a point where people were praying and making noise and singing and all sorts of praises. Yeah. But I chose to stay calm, just calm, and just counting, okay, how far are we from, when we reach the middle, now you cannot see this end where you are coming from, you can't see where you're going. You just trust you'll be there. Water is splashing inside us. We try to cover ourselves with what they call cape, right? Some big polythene. And we went through it. It was very tense. It was risky. And there was no surety that we would reach the other side. I kept calm. And I realized that staying calm is good enough for people you are leading. And for that reason, my little brother did not panic. To him, he was just looking at me. Am I panicking? Am I still composed? That was it. You see, and this boat, just before we could reach the other side, though that was not our destination shore, it split and we had to get into water, but we were almost at the shore. So we just walked in. But it was not a pleasant thing. Now, there is nothing worse, in my view, that I can go through that is worse than that. I've sailed many other times as a fisherman, and I know that I actually relate with also the story in the Bible when Jesus was seemingly sleeping, not caring. Don't you care that we are dying? So such situations can give you an experience. And this political situation, if you don't take care, can be one such big, long sailing where you're never sure about the end. And there are 4 topics that are usually very emotional. I think 4 or 3. One is money. Money subject. The moment it's brought in, it becomes very emotional and contentious, and lots of people get into trouble with that, taking their sides, and that is what breaks families. Yeah. Another one is money, is politics, and another one is religion. So always be, if you are going to be tolerant enough, if you are going to be wise enough as you relate with people, in order not to create conflict, just accept that we are all different and we are entitled to our opinion, and we don't always have to win an argument. And maybe if we are wrong, we will learn. If the other person, if we go the other way, if we are right and it goes the other way, still they will learn from their own mistakes, if at all they will.
Pepe, I think I
Any
just
question? Yes.
wanted to comment and say that just like in investment and money, if you have money that is not being used, it will be spent haphazardly. And as the Bible says that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. If your mind is idle, then it will be swayed here and there, here and there. So don't let your mind be on idle mode. Just keep investing in yourself emotionally, keep investing in yourself from whatever angle you want to invest in yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you must engage your mind, and that's why we were talking about engagement activity. And I see Lillian has written something there very good. Yes, it starts with self-awareness. You better know what magnitude, how much can you carry. Don't carry more than you can, your capacity. Self-awareness is a big thing, and that's actually where it starts. Yes, Lillian, you can say what you're saying. It's night, eh?
Yeah, it's nighttime here. It's 11:20. Real quick, I think I was just sharing that, responding to some of those, it's very important to also know your mental tenacity. Is that what they call it? Like, you have to know how strong you are mentally or emotionally when you're dealing with certain situations. And sometimes even when you are, like now with politics, I think, was it Melvin or someone who was talking about like during sports, sometimes when people are so passionate and they commit suicide, and many times you find there are other things that were going on in their life, but then they try to distract themselves, but then they got so attached to the soccer and then it doesn't go their way. So again, knowing like the balance of what things are going on in life and things like that, I think is very important. Yeah, that's all I wanted to share, but thank you for a great presentation.
Great. Yes, we need to know our emotional equilibrium. Where can we strike the balance? Thank you very much.